Started as an East Coast vibe, now I'm going worldwide. We got this bitch going crazy. I used to take the Mazda 4 drive, now I'm on the 405 like it's fuck you, pay me. We really sick of standing outside, had to push them all aside. It's what you get for trying to play me. I bet they make a movie when I die just to talk about my life. They need an actor to portray me. I got this motherfucker clear like an eye drop. I got elevator flow, I'm on a high top. I got little something stacked like an IHOP. This is 05, you will put it on your iPod. I'ma give you something that you can't forget. Put the price up, baby, add the tax a bit. Know you saw the comma, thought it was an accident. Well, it wasn't. It's about time the kids buzzing. I'm trying to get a peek in the elevator. But if we talking peaks, I need mine like the Himalayas. I'm talking yay high, man. I never had a vertical limit. I ain't seen you put in work in a minute. I gotta put on for the family. That goes for every person that's in it. Used to scrape by working as a service attendant till I got more. Bitch, I ain't comfy. I need the top floor. Doing anything to get that spot for. Pop off. Started as an East Coast vibe. Now I'm going worldwide. We got this bitch going crazy. I used to take the Mazda 4 drive. Now I'm on the 405 like it's fuck you, pay. We really sick of standing outside. Had to push them all aside. It's what you get for trying to play me. I bet they make a movie when I die just to talk about my life. They need an actor to portray me. I ain't settling for nothing that be under an M. There's only one of me, there's 100 of them. Gotta listen close, I drop hundreds of gems. From the start, no, I wasn't pretend. With the world on my back, had to drop my own ego. Problems at the crib, we couldn't fix at Home Depot. That was on till, mom's off the vino. Room full of smoke like we lived in a casino. She know, day I moved out is when I opened my eyes. Looking for the truth like God show me a sign. I'm not religious or the holiest kind, but the blessings came to me when I opened my mind. I was running around the city, man, I knew I had to make some. Wasn't raised a thief, but if I had to, I would take some. Worked the Frito-Lay, I was writing on my break, son. Plotting on a record, waiting for the day we break one.
Nah, I was just, no, I'm really busy, just wrapping up some stuff in the studio. Yeah, everything's good. I mean, it's just been a lot of, like, settling in and whatnot. Yeah. I'm not really sure when I'm coming back. I don't have any plans of it right now.
I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Designated Spittaz. Derek, what's up, fam? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm not as irritable or disgruntled as I was the last two episodes. You know, a little bit more encouraged this week.
We're a little happy. We're a little happier. We are definitely a little happier, and I talked about it a bit on Game Season today. I think you actually had the prediction spot on. Did it shoot 5-2 is what you said last time?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know if it was so much a prediction as a hope. That was kind of, you had asked me what would make you satisfied, or maybe what would you be happy with? And 5-2, and I have to stand by that. It would be hypocritical of me to say, well, I'm pissed we didn't win today. And 5-2 is pretty good homestand.
It is. I'm right there with you, man. And you know, I said it multiple times. I'm like, maybe it wasn't the best way to put this, but I was like, the best/worst case for the Yankees is a split. Mm-hmm. If it's the worst case, let it be a split, not a sweep. So the best/worst case for the Yankees would have been a split, and that is what they got. I guess the encouraging thing here is that the Yankees could have won every one of these games.
Yes.
And that's the same thing that we could say in the Tampa series, is that they could have won every one of those games. And Tampa somehow has found a way to, you know, whether you want to say maybe a little bit of bad choices led to it or bad decisions, but Tampa did their job and they split at Yankee Stadium.
And they're getting a little banged up now too, but
yeah,
you know, I feel like we've seen more fight in the last several days from the Yankees than we have seen all season. Something's going on in that clubhouse. Maybe it's getting Bader back. Maybe it's having Judge in there again. But, maybe it's just that they're not putting Aaron Hicks anywhere near the field anymore. Who knows? But something feels different about kind of like the way that the team is interacting. I think the emergence of Anthony Volpe is huge. We'll talk more about specifics about his hitting later, but You're seeing him play with a lot more confidence. He made that run by himself. He's hanging out with Rizzo and Judge. He looks like he's one of the guys now. Rizzo's looking great. Bullpen's been a mixed bag, but Domingo's been good. There's a lot of good things to talk about.
Yeah, no doubt. And if you take a look here, Game 1, the Yankees lose it 8-2. They come back and win 6-5. They come back again and win 9-8, and then they lose 8-7. So even with us sitting here saying that the Yankees could have swept, I mean, the Rays could look at the series too and go, well, we could have easily swept too. Mm-hmm. So I think both teams are kind of looking at each other right now and it's like, hey, we know that both of you guys are beatable. Whether it's the Yankees and the Rays come in a couple of months as the 1-2 teams, who knows? We'll see what happens. We are about to go face another American League East foe in Canada, the Blue Jays. But the Yankees do got a tough schedule coming up, as the chat is talking about, no doubt about it. But I do think the Yankees can walk away from this series and go, we are also fully not healthy. Mm-hmm. Giancarlo Stanton is not in that lineup. Look at the guys we've been throwing out there to pitch. Right. Clark Schmidt is obviously not a starting pitcher. I mean, we kind of can see this now that he's pitched decent. He's not really a starter. Nestor Cortez continues to get hit pretty hard. And the Yankees have Rodon shelved, Severino shelved. They don't have all those guys back yet. The Rays, on the other hand, have been kind of playing at full health throughout most of the season. They're getting a little beat up now with Rasmussen and a few other things. But the Yankees should walk away, even though they didn't get the victories. They'll face them again, I believe, in the end of July, early August. But they should be looking at this series and going, guys, this team we could beat. Like, this is not some team that we cannot beat that is just way better than us.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Yankees are Evander Holyfield after a couple of rounds with Tyson. It's like, he hits hard, but I'm still here. It's
facts.
Maybe I can come back and win this thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we saw some really good signs. Rizzo is obviously red hot. His back is obviously fine. That's a testament to, having left-handed hitters in Yankee Stadium, which, the Yankees should do more of. I feel really good about Jake Bauers. Last time that we were on, we were both kind of skeptical, but I'm getting more and more confident in him each time and each day. And it's not like it is with, when Franchi was hot or when Matt Carpenter was hot. Like, that was otherworldly hot. What I'm seeing from Bauers is I'm seeing a guy who has, pretty solid at bats and hits the ball hard and fights off pitches. And he's not like a strikeout machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Apparently, from my understanding, the Yankees apparently really do feel like that he has something there.
Yeah.
That there's something that clicked for him and that something is there and he's going to continue to improve and continue to get better. Got our first super chat of the day, my guy, Ruben. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Ruben. He said, we lost today because of Boone's usual bullpen mismanagement, but man, the offense these last 10 games has me much more confident. Let me tell you something real quick, and I'm happy, Ruben, actually, that's a great segue into talking about the management style of Aaron Boone today. Aaron Boone, whether people say, hey, maybe this is somebody up top calling this, or it's the analytics, they kind of pre-planned this before the game. If they do pre-plan these things before the game, Aaron Boone has no leeway. It's like you must do what happens. And the reason I say that is, you look at today's game, and the Abreu move, going to Abreu right there in that situation, which is by all means not one of your best relief pitchers. Mm-hmm. Derek, one thing me and you like to bring up a lot is that we got to see the dynasty years, and we recognize that a lot of times our references come from that because, we got to witness that. Guys like Ramiro Mendoza, for anybody that is more, maybe 09 Yankees, A couple of years before that, a couple of years after that, David Robertson was nicknamed Houdini because he could get out of any of those situations. That role, that spot right there is for your Houdini.
Yep.
It's for the guy who can say, damn, base is loaded. This is tough. You know what? I could probably go to Abreu. Let me give him a clean inning. If he has to pitch today, fine. But in this situation, I gotta go with somebody who I feel like is in that inner circle. Remember Joe Girardi had the trust circle?
Yeah.
And he had like his little circle of guys he trusted. He's like, I'm only going to those guys.
You're right.
This situation called for that.
Yeah. That's
Maybe
true.
like an Ian Hamilton. You know, a guy who's doing it all. You kind of got him closing. You trust him.
Yeah.
That situation to be called for somebody other than Abreu.
Yeah, I felt like it was a good spot for Mike King, and I get that they're trying not to overuse him. The way I was looking at it is I'm a probability guy, right? I believe in probability. He's not a guy who gives up a lot of home runs, and he had that kind of freak opposite field home run that he allowed the other night.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think that you bring him in there, he's going to allow a grand slam. I said, bring in Mike King. I agree that Schmidt should have been out, but I also think he should have been out earlier. You know,
I agree.
But I have no problem going to Michael King in the middle innings because he showed last year that he was very valuable that way, where he would come in and throw you a couple innings and let your offense, kind of take charge. Right. That's what they were doing when they were on that great streak last year. That's the role he was in. But because of the ineffectiveness of Clay Holmes as a closer, and the fact that you've had to go to Wandy and you've had to go to Hamilton and you don't have that lockdown closer, you've kind of had to rely on Mike King in the back end of the game. And I think that's what they were planning on today. But the problem is you got to get there first. And that was the highest leverage situation, like you said. I didn't even consider bringing in Abreu at that point. Like when I saw that he was warming, I was like, Abreu. But I again, we're just going to deal with Boone all year on this kind of move. But I agree with you. It's probably a better spot for Mike King.
Yeah, no doubt about it. My thing is that I guess the biggest problem I have in situations of games like this is when I watch this game, and obviously I'm calling the game, you get Abreu, he gives it the home run, and then Abreu really doesn't give nothing up after that. My other main concern is that the Yankees then went to Weber. Like, this game didn't mean anything.
Right.
I got to be honest. Like, he had the first and second one out, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, I'm going to flip shit here if this guy blows this game. Like, why would you do that? Why would you bring this guy in to blow this game? It doesn't make sense to me.
It was an early punt. And
yes.
Can I just interject something? I think that what you're seeing from the Yankees offense the last couple of days may have even been a response to that. I think they might be sending a message to their manager like, hey, we'll let you know when we're out of the game, right? Stop.
I'm right. I agree.
That's the type of shit that goes on in clubhouses, right? Especially if you've lost a clubhouse where that they don't want to punt in the fifth inning with a $300 million lineup. You're going to punt in the fifth inning? Yep. Come on.
It just makes no sense. And like you said, I mean, we seen it the other day in the seventh inning down by 5 runs. He's going, all right, Abreu and Weber. That's it. I guess, guys, we're done. And I remember immediately saying, my guys, it's not that I just want Boone gone. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact of the message being sent to the Rays is that, hey, you guys take a pretty large chunk of a lead. We're done. We quit. Yeah. We're out. You're going to see your Webers. You're going to see the long relief guys that we have. And today I'm like, I remember watching and going, all these people that go, Pete, these are pre-planned things. I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe they sit there and they go, hey, today this is the order.
Yeah. It might be.
This guy, and this guy. That's the order today. That's it.
Yeah. There's no way for us to know without being in the room, but it looks suspicious. Some of these moves are just so unorthodox. Bullpen management has been a problem for Yankees managers for years. Girardi had that problem, and then even Joe Torre, he had a circle of trust that was 2 people. It was Mariano Rivera and Scott Proctor until his arm fell off.
Tanny and Sturts got in there for a little bit. He died.
Sturts ran him into the ground.
I remember one game with Torre that to this day just cracks me up, man. And I remember I was the same person I am now as like 9 years old, 11, 12 years old, still screaming at the screen and stuff. And there was a game against Boston. And matter of fact, I think it was the game, if you remember, where Jeff Karstens broke his leg.
Yes.
Got hit with the line drive. And he brought in Mike Myers.
Mike Myers, lefty. Lefty specialist
like
for like
12 miles
one
an
batter
hour.
only guy, and they brought him in to just take a beating.
He was like, yeah, just go out the rest of the game. No big deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, maybe that left such a mark on me that anytime I see anything like that, I just start to flip out. I can't help it. But speaking of guys that are starting to make a difference, this young kid right here, Derek, Anthony Volpe, I said it on the stream joking around. I was like, guys, if Volpe gets us to one run here, I'm going to be hype. And then boom, immediately off the bat, Anthony Volpe does what he's been doing. What is this, 3 homers over the last 5 games?
That was and that was an impressive one too. That was a hanging slider. That's what you're supposed to do with hanging sliders. Look, he's been showing a lot more power lately, but also the weather's heating up, and he's a guy who hits so many balls in the air. How many balls did he hit to the warning track in the first 2 weeks? Those balls are going to start carrying out. Also, as I mentioned earlier, he just looks so much more confident and like a bigger part of the team. You see him hanging out in between 2 guys, Judge and Rizzo, in the dugout. That's exactly where I want him. I want that Volpe sandwich, and those 2 guys is the bread. He's a legit superstar in the making. He's going to be I'd say he's going to be a 30 home run guy eventually, 50 steals every year. And he's just getting started. He's not even 80% of the player he's going to be. He's probably 70% of the player he's going to be in a few years.
Yeah,
so,
he's been absolutely amazing. And I know you bring this up a couple of times. You talk about his Baseball Savant page. Well, it's continuing to get better.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at that right now, guys, there was a time earlier in the year, everything was blue. The barrel is going up. And the main thing, I know you guys hear about this a lot. You're like, oh, Pete, what does it mean? Well, when you barrel the ball, exit velocity goes up. And that is what you're seeing from Anthony Volpe. I mean, the sprint speed, we know that. The walks, we know. Hard hit percentage. These are all trending in the right direction. Yes, he strikes out. We understand that. We get that. But Anthony Volpe, as Derek said, is showing why fans need to be excited about him and why teams wait for prospects.
And why we should be patient.
And bingo, why we should be patient. Many people were screaming at me. Give up. I mean, he's not good. He can't hit. He's hitting 180. Enough is enough. Come on, now it's going to his defense. He made one error. And everybody's sitting there going, guys, we've watched this guy for years in the minor leagues. A lot of us know how good this kid could be. Just give him time. Look, I've said it, if he's batting 190 come June, July, I'm going to be sitting there saying, the kid might need time in AAA.
Yeah.
Like, he really might need that. Hey, kid, hasn't worked out right now. Let's go down there and get you back on track and get you back up here. But Anthony Volpe right now looks unfriggin' believable.
And the spray chart, I mean, I'm looking up the spray chart that you just had up. Mm-hmm. Hits the ball to all fields, power to all fields. He's hit home runs to right field, center field, and left field. You look at the K percentage is like not good. Like he strikes, he's in the bottom 20% of the league. But if you look at the chase rate, he's really great at that. So what that tells me is that he's adjusting to big league velocity. He's behind. Yep. But that's going to get better as he gets more reps. Wouldn't shock me if by the end of the year that is more around league average, maybe a little bit below because he got off to such a slow start with the strikeouts. But the next couple of years, that's only going to get better. The expected batting average is low because early on he was hitting dribblers and pop-ups. That's going to go up as that exit velocity goes up. He's getting stronger. And the one thing we haven't talked about, outs above average. That means how many outs do you create at your position in relative fashion to the league. So he's essentially in the top 29% of the league as a rookie. That's damn good. And his arm can still his arm can still get stronger. He made it stronger last year. I suspect he'll make it stronger this year. We've got a big enough sample size now that we know that 30% of the league arm strength, that's what it is, right? It's not gonna be in the 70s by the end of the year. It might go up a point or two. It'll probably go down as he gets tired. I suspect that he's going to get back into that pitching camp or whatever this winter, and next year you'll see that at 40 percentile, and then maybe 50th percentile next year.
Yep. And the good thing too about Anthony Volpe is he plays the game so fast. So it plays a lot quicker.
Right.
So
Quick
even
release.
the quick release is everything for him. And then we got to talk about the other Anthony, because I think if there's an MVP of the Yankees as of right now on the offensive side of the ball, it is definitely Anthony Rizzo.
Yep.
Anthony Rizzo just continues to impress. Now, I want everybody to look at these numbers here on the Baseball Savant page, but everything there is sexy and nice. The sexiest thing between last year and this year, look at all the hits to the right side that are typically outs.
Yeah. And
That
the
is the
defense
difference.
last year, if you look at his defense last year was down because of the back.
Yeah.
And the defense is back to all-star level. He's still too slow to be stealing bases. I still feel like he gets thrown out on the bases a bit too much, but
yeah,
he's one of those guys who thinks he's fast.
Yes, exactly.
But he's not.
It's like Tony Lakes. Come on, man. You're doing the good things you got to do. Let the burners be the burners. Leave that alone. Driving the runs like.
And I don't want to hear Yankee Stadium. Look at where those home runs are landing.
Oh, they're bombs.
Those are 15, 20 rows deep. To give me
bombs.
they're talking on the broadcast. That just shows you how deep. Like, I don't think that these broadcasters think about the game or what they're going to say before it actually gets there. You know what I mean? Like,
they don't.
You look at this number and you look at his stats, his splits. Obviously, they're better at home, but that's just because he slumped a little bit on the road. These are not porch home runs. He's hitting the ball 15 rows deep.
Yep.
How many upper deckers? You think those balls aren't going out in Baltimore or Tampa Bay or Toronto?
No, these are no doubt about it. Home runs, really anywhere. And again, one of the things you brought up earlier is those lefty bats.
Yeah.
And he's such an important one. Now, I had somebody tell me earlier, they said, Pete, but he always gets off to a good start. And then, the back starts getting cranky and all that, and he starts to slow down a little bit. My only answer to that is that, guys, we don't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could feel like it's an every year thing. Anthony Rizzo right now, you got to take what you're getting, and you're getting a very, very good version of Anthony Rizzo. He's worth every single penny right now that the Yankees put in on him.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people going, hey, go for a better first baseman in the offseason. Get a better first baseman. He's good, but he's not elite. Right now, Anthony Rizzo is looking elite. And, the shift, we thought it would make a difference, but it is making a major difference. But as Derek said, the power is also still there. And the power hasn't left.
You think about the Yankees all-star representative. At this point, it has to be Anthony Volpe as your top vote getter.
Yeah, you would think. No doubt about it.
I mean, Judge going to get votes because he's Aaron Judge. But
Aaron Judge will get him, yeah. Aaron Judge will definitely get him. And speaking of Aaron Judge, 2 home runs. Swore the ball today was a home run.
No, just
in the
missed
ninth.
It.
Everybody got pissed at Pete, come on, you made me think it was I thought it was a home run. What do you want me to do? The ball looked like it was actually launched, the pitcher.
Yeah.
Adam thought it was launched.
Yeah. And Judge's reaction, he kind of looked at it for a second, like, you know how he does that thing where he just kind of in a big moment like he did yesterday. I was jumping up and doing one of these, I was like, I feel like a lot of people were probably doing that.
Bro,
on Friday on the NYYPD crossover that we do.
Yeah.
We talked about whether or not it was timing or whether or not it was an injury that was lingering. And I think he showed us this weekend definitively that it's timing.
I said
he was explosive again.
Yeah. I said the same thing. I said immediately, I think it was the first game of the series. I said, man, his swing looks good again. Like that swing, look, he's taking full hacks. Like it doesn't look like he's half-assing it. Like he's taking full cuts. And let's be honest here, man. If the Yankees aren't doing dick without Aaron Judge in that lineup. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Yankees aren't doing dick. It doesn't matter who's there. They're not doing it. So before we get into some Yankees starting pitching talk, I want to also just look over the rest of the schedule coming up. So 4 against the Toronto Blue Jays, 3 at Great American Ballpark with the Reds. They're off on Monday the 22nd. 3 against the Orioles at home, 3 against the Padres at home, and then on the road, West Coast series starts up. I believe it's 3 against the Mariners, and I think they play the Dodgers immediately after that. So
Stanton's going to be back for that, hopefully.
And again, it doesn't get easier, guys. I mean, this is a tough schedule, no doubt about it. I really haven't pinpointed the schedule enough to say if this is the toughest part of the schedule for them, but it can't really get too much more difficult than what they're doing right now. And the series against Toronto is almost just as big against Tampa.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't slow. And The Yankees had a chance to come back in this game today. They don't do it. I don't think that's going to carry over too much to Canada, to be honest. I think they're just going to start up fresh, ready to go. And the thing holding back the Yankees right now, in my opinion, is, as you said earlier, Bader coming back seems to have meant a lot for him. The energy is there. He just provides so much.
That catch, man, today.
Catch was phenomenal.
Ridiculous.
Catch of the year so far?
21 steps. I counted. That's a lot.
It's got to be catch of the year.
Typically, well, the year's not over, but so far, yes.
So far, yeah, no doubt about it.
Typically a great catch. I like to count the number of full strides that a guy will take trying to run one down. 13, 14 is typically all you get on a great catch before somebody has to lay out. He took 20 steps. That's
so quick.
That is difficult, man.
And I don't mean quick in speed. I mean, he like knows where the ball's gonna go like that. Like his route taking is phenomenal. And his reaction time is great.
Most coaches over the last a couple decades have taught sprint to where you think the ball is going to land, and that's why a lot of guys will treat BP as, you'll see them taking mini routes. You'll see them kind of start, they'll run like 4 steps towards where they think the ball is going to land, and then stop. You don't want to necessarily play it live, but that you're training your brain to. It's like getting rebounds. How Dennis Rodman's trying to read the spin and see the ball's going to end up over here, over there. Bader is, one thing that sticks out to me is when there's a line drive to center field, by the time the camera cuts to center field, he's already sprinting. Whereas when IKF was out there, you see him kind of, falling
around and where the ball may be going. Yeah, that reaction time is completely different. I got to answer this comment real quick. Acevedo says, Pete, why are the Yankees not trying Stanton at first base? Well, come on, man. I mean, we just... We talked about one of the main reasons why, and that's Anthony Rizzo. And the other reason why is why the hell would Stanton play first base for?
There's so many responses to that question that I don't even know where to begin. Do you really want Stanton doing a split at first base? The man would break in half. He's the least flexible person in the field. You'd be better off putting him at catcher.
Yeah. I'd rather put IKF at first base.
Yeah.
Any day of the week. I mean, just put IKF.
He wouldn't have to throw the ball.
You don't have to throw the ball. That's
Stanton's big. He's got a big frame. I'll say that for him, which is something you like. But you got to create first baseman over there. DJ can back up sufficiently. No reason to even consider Stanton. Here's what I would tell Stanton. I'd say, go play right field once or twice a week to spell Aaron Judge so he can DH. You're going to DH the rest of the time. I don't care if you hit the ball off the wall. Just take your time.
Yep.
Take it easy on the legs. If you end up on first base, I'd rather you have a single in this one game than be out for 2 months because you tried to sprint.
Yeah.
I'd rather have your deadly bat in there. Just get healthy and take it easy on the legs. That's all I want from him.
I mean, that's the thing with him is that it's just at this point, everybody knows it. I don't think any Yankee player would have an issue with it. Nobody would. At the end of the day, they need him in the lineup. And the funny thing about Stanton is he's one of those guys that are just different. He makes everybody in the lineup better. He could be 0 for 25, and he still makes everybody in the lineup better because he just strikes fear in pitchers no matter what. He's one of those guys. There's not many like him. Yeah. Manny Ramirez was like that. I think Judge kind of has that ability. But there's just something about Stanton that if he's in your lineup, everybody around him immediately is better.
Well, yeah, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. I was getting ready to say the fear that he instills in pitchers. You as a pitcher at the major league level, you know that your life is always in danger with a comebacker, right? Mm-hmm. But he's got the highest caliber, aiming right at you. That one that he hit off of Tanaka. I don't know how Tanaka still has a head.
Facts. I mean, Stanton has, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a major difference even in Stanton and Judge with how many balls he has over like 110 miles an hour. Like
we talked about that
difference. Yeah,
it was like
a huge gap.
I think it was 116 mile an hour plus.
Yeah,
and
it's insane.
And it was ridiculous. It was like Stan had like 130 and Judge had like 72, and he was in second place.
It's like a major gap even between those two, and you're like, well, Judge kills them, yeah, but Stanton does it like every time he makes contact. There's a rocket.
I love those outlier type of players. If you look at a statistic, and I don't know exactly what it might be ERA plus, it might be ERA or whatever, but you look at Mariano Rivera, compared to other relief pitchers for the duration of his career. And he's like 3 standard deviations above the norm better than everyone else.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's just, Mo is the GOAT for a reason. There's no denying
absolutely.
that. Speaking of guys the Yankees need to get back, Carlos Rodon making a little bit of progress here. If you want to call this progress, I mean that he's alive and he's throwing a baseball is progress in my opinion. So I'm going to talk about it.
His arm has not been completely amputated yet.
Correct.
It's positive news.
Good enough to me. Carlos Rodon has threw from 60 to 75 feet today and yesterday. So that is 2 days in a row, guys. That's a streak. When you got 2 days in a row, that indeed is a streak. We got back-to-back days of throwing a baseball. This is maybe more significant than any of us could even put into words.
You know, I tend to think
significant.
I tend to think of a streak as 3. I don't think we're quite there yet. 2 is like, you know, it's like I've had spaghetti 2 days in a row. But if I've had spaghetti 3 days in a row, it's like, man, I've been eating spaghetti all week. I'm on a streak.
You're a pasta freak at that point.
I eat a lot of pasta. I eat the amount of pasta I eat would be offensive to most people.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to walk. I eat a bowl of pasta, I gain 6 pounds. So if I eat every single day in a row, forget about it. I'm not moving anywhere. That's it for me. But they need, I mean, I feel like for the Yankees to go anywhere, they need what we've all wanted in the offseason and what we were expecting to come true at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it comes true by the end of the season and they're in a good position to go to the postseason. And we have a chance to see Cole, Rodon, Sevy, however they go about it. What are you expecting? I mean, are you at this point even sitting there going, I mean, he's going to pitch at some point? Or are you just like, you know what? If he ever gets on the mound, cool.
Yeah. So I think he's going to get on the mound. So I actually spoke to a doctor about this. Chronic, what could a chronic back injury look like to a pitcher without knowing the specifics? And to me, the most probable situation is arthritis, right? From repetitive stress. If it's a disc, they would be talking surgery, but they're not. Right. So it's probably chronic inflammation, which can be healed with a cortisone shot, or at least made negligible, the effect. I expect him to come back, and I expect him to be at full strength. And I don't think it's going to be that long. I think they'll have him before the All-Star break. I really do. What might happen is that, and this is what terrifies me because it's going to put that label on him. If he comes back through the rehab and he's tentative and he's changing his delivery to try and protect the back, you're going to see the elbow go.
The elbow, yep. That's right.
And that's what I worry about more than anything.
I'm right there with you guys. With 35 likes away from 100. Smack that like button for us. Here's my thoughts on Carlos Rodon. I haven't changed any opinion of the guy I have. I know there's a lot of people that want to put the whole Carpavano thing on him and he doesn't want to pitch and this and that. I don't know, man. I still see a bulldog. You know what I mean? I do. I still see a bulldog in this guy. He's not hiding away anywhere. Yeah. He was with the team recently. You know, his wife basically came out and was like, yo, all that stuff is bullshit. He's going to be on the mound. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Apparently, if you listen to I think it was Joel Sherman who said it, he got people telling him that Rodon wants to pitch already, and the Yankees are saying, let's take it easy. You kind of don't have to jump the gun too much. Let's relax with it. My opinion of him hasn't changed. I think he is at a health. When he's healthy, he's one of the better starting pitchers in baseball. I want to believe in him. I'm going to continue to believe in him. Just because he has this, it is a big setback, and I get it, and fans should be upset, and I completely understand fans being angry about it. I am still choosing to believe in the guy, and the guy that I wanted for all these years is now here, and I'm hoping that he's going to be a big contributor to this team winning.
It's easy to be down on the guy when we haven't seen it, but the minute that he goes out there and he throws a 2-hit, 7-inning of shutout baseball performance with 14 strikeouts, everybody's going to forget that he wasn't around. It's the recency bias. The guy that concerns me a little bit more, I think, is to Severino, just because he always has multiple injuries, and I'm worried, that they're going to get him back and he's going to pitch well, but then, something's going to break down in August or September. Let me ask you a question, because I've been thinking about this. Let's say he does come back and pitch well. Let's say he has a Severino style second half, right? He goes 11-2, 3.2 ERA. Do you sign him? Do you sign?
No.
No, me neither.
I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I thought you were going to say, would you trade him? Like, if
would
he comes back
you deal
and
him if he's
health,
red hot? I mean, I don't know if I would deal him if he got a chance to win.
I think I would. It depends
Really?
on what it is. Yeah. Here's my reasoning why. If Carlos Rodon is back and he's looking good, Garrett Cole's still fine, right? Everybody's there. Nestor maybe gets back in track a little bit, and you're like, it's looking pretty good. And Sevy's out there pretty good. 3.21 ERA.
Yeah.
Healthy, looking good. And let's say a team calls you up and they're like, hey, we'll give you this very solid outfielder for the remainder of the year and 2 pitching prospects that are above AA. I'm like, you got to sit back there and go, are we really going to re-sign this guy? 1 and 2? How do we not take this right now?
I like the idea of getting another couple of AA prospects, because our AA team is already stacked. And I feel like if you just stack a team enough, they learn how to win together, and then you move up the system together. All those 90s.
Look at the Joey Gallo trade. Clayton Beater is looking amazing in AA.
I would have him starting over Clark Schmidt right now. Right now. I don't care if he takes his lumps. I mean, the guy throws 102 miles an hour with a nasty breaking ball.
Yeah, at least one time through the order, he's going to dominate. Probably got a decent chance going through it 2 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so tough. Just going back to your original question, would I re-sign him? I can't do it, because somebody's going to give him a lot of money. If he shows that he has an arm, and he's pitched, somebody's going to pay Severino. I can't see the Yankees doing it. I can't. And
I agree.
A lot of times fans and this is fans in general, we want to stick up for the player more than the organization. We always want to go, but he wants to pitch. Well, we got to remember, this guy also held back an injury.
Yeah.
That cost him pretty badly. That affected the team. This guy also showed up late to a postseason game.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not questioning if Severino really wants to be an ace in New York. I'm not questioning his character. All I'm talking about is the things that we know have happened. And I don't know if he's the guy I want to say, you know what? We'll give you a 5 or 6 year deal again after, what have you thrown? 25 starts since 2019?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
The only way I would do it is I would say, take a 1-year deal first. Show us over a full season that you can do it, and then we'll talk about it. But he wouldn't do that.
No way. And his agent would have.
No, his agent would laugh you out the door.
He'd be like, no, you were able to make 11 starts. You know what I mean? Yeah. You were able to make 11 starts, so you're gonna get a 5-year deal somewhere. Somebody's gonna give it to you. Yeah. Then I mean, for him, and don't get me wrong, like when I say I really like Luis Severino, I really like Luis Severino. I think he's excellent, but I can't do that type of deal to lock him in long term. I got to ask you, because we have 2 more starts since the last time we talked, from Nestor Cortez and then also from Domingo German. Domingo German again looked good. Nestor Cortez struggled again. What is it in your opinion with Nestor Cortez at this point?
So Nestor actually, he retired 9 in a row before the wheels fell off. What I said on my post game that day, if you notice, that was the same day that McClanahan also kind of wilted. That was the hottest day of the summer so far that the Yankees have played, and the most humidity, the hottest real feel. I know as a pitcher in the past, the first time you come out there and it's just really humid, really hot, you wilt a little bit early. And I think that happened to both of them. It's just something that happens to pitchers. I'm not super concerned about Nestor, but I do think that he needs to maybe mix in some more of the funkiness. We haven't seen the funkiness as much this year. I think maybe the pitch clock is forcing him to make a decision about his pitch quicker. And it kind of blocks out that extraneous thought of, hey, maybe now would be a good time. What he needs is a button on that pitch comm that says funky, and then he can just kind of, do what he wants. Yeah, I'm gonna do a funky.
That would be legendary. That would be legendary. When it comes to me with Nestor, I'm kind of taking a step onto the boat of being concerned. Not that Nestor Cortez is a bad pitcher, but that Nestor Cortez probably isn't that 3.05, 3.1 guy that some of us were expecting him to be. My biggest concern is, again, that cutter. Right-handers are just sitting on it. They're just waiting. They're taking the off-speed stuff, and they're just sitting back. They're waiting for that cutter on the inner side of the plate, and they're just bombing it. This is going back to last year, towards the end of last season, when I picked up on it early, and I was like, let me keep an eye on that. And then you just see it more and more as right-handers are waiting. They're not chasing the changeup. They're not chasing much. They're sitting back and waiting on that cutter to come in. And he typically keeps it up in the zone. He's not a cutter low guy. He's a cutter up in the zone. And they know it's going to break into him. And if it's up out of the plate, they just drive it. And I feel like there's an adjustment on his end that needs to be made. And I think he could do it, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, what you're seeing is, he's trying to get on the handle of the bat, just like Mariano would do. He doesn't throw as hard as Mariano, obviously, but he gets a nice big break. He's got pretty good command of it, and it's pretty late. So, he's trying to get in on those hands. And the hitters know it's coming. Problem is, if he actually gets it in, all they're going to be able to do with it is, hit a chopper to third like they did a little bit yesterday with some double plays, or hit it foul. The problem comes when he leaves it out over the plate, which he's doing too much this year. And I think the reason that he's doing that is because he's not quite as fundamentally sound in his mechanics as he was last year. He just looks a little bit, I don't know. It almost looks like he's dragging his arm a little bit. Look, I'm not a professional pitching coach. I've done some scouting, but to me, it looks like he's just a tick behind in his momentum going towards home plate. What I would want to see him do is work on the backdoor cutter for a little bit.
Yes.
That keeps your shoulder in, that keeps you focused on that outside part of the plate. Try and throw it on that outer part of the plate and get some, called strikes with it. Get the guys looking out there, get their eyes moved to the outside part of the plate, and then you can come in, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Turn it, reverse it. Right now they're looking for it in. Make them start looking away. You got to make that adjustment. His stuff is fine. His stuff is essentially unchanged over the last couple of years. He just needs to spot it better, make less mistakes, and be more strategic with it.
No doubt about it. And what's your thoughts on how Domingo German has looked? And do you think he's coming very, very close to strangling Aaron Boone if he tries to take him out of another game? I mean, you got to be close at this point.
I hope that he's learned his lesson about strangling people. But here's my thing with German. He's always great for a half a season. And right now he's hitting that stride where I really believe he's going to be the pitcher we've seen the last few weeks. Most of the time he'll have his clunkers until about August. Yeah. And then he's going to wilt.
Yeah, and it's like early on, right? When everybody was healthy, we're like, you know what? He's a really nice number 5 starter. You know what I mean? Because like you said, a lot of times he'll be consistent, then have a clunker every now and then, but mainly he'll get you through 5.
Yeah.
He can do that.
The fact that we're getting our rotation back together, hopefully, has me feeling a little bit better. I mean, you consider that Clark Schmidt, who is now, I don't know, 1-4, 1-5 with like a 6-point-something ERA. He was our number 2 starter. Johnny Brito was our number 3 starter. He's got an ERA over 6.
Yep.
And the fact that we're only, 7 games back or, whatever it is, maybe 8, I don't know. But we're over 500. We're hanging in there. I feel like we've got a shot to make a run with the pitching coming back, with the hitting heating up. Can we talk a second about Aaron Hicks? We haven't even mentioned his name. Oh,
God, please.
He's been away from the field all week. My most liked tweet ever yesterday was I posted that AI of him stalking.
That was great. That was great. I'm sorry. I kind of feel bad about it. I was like, I love it. Please. I want to frame this. Can I get him to sign it and frame this?
I hope he saw it, man. I want him to go away. But I just think it's interesting they haven't used him. He has, he had that groin issue or a hip issue, and then the next day he said he was fine.
Yeah.
Yet they still haven't put him anywhere near the field. I just think it's something going on with Aaron Hicks.
I mean, I think the thing is, and we had a couple of questions about him too, so that's actually perfect. I think the thing with Aaron Hicks really is that, I mean, who at this point now, who is he better than? You know what I mean? No, like you look at the regular guys like Bowers. Come on now. I mean, look, Bowers can hit 210, but you know he's going to pop one every now and then. He has a pretty decent eye, too.
Right.
I mean, who is the person to put him in there for and be like, you know what? We can get him in there now. And Stanton's coming back. I mean, what is his role?
Right. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think that he won't be around for the Toronto series tomorrow, and I think that we might have his spot replaced with a pitcher because they need an arm on the staff right now.
Big.
And you don't need an extra bat.
You mean IL or do you mean gone?
Either IL or off the roster completely. But I don't think he's going to be on the 26-man headed in because you don't need him in Toronto.
No, you wouldn't. You're right.
And you think about it, the pitching staff is completely depleted. You need another arm. You could maybe, if you put him on the IL or you put somebody on the IL, my guess would be Hicks. You can call up Davey again.
Yep.
Who just threw 3 innings and had a few days off. That's a very Cashman-esque move. Let's put this guy on the IL. And that might be why they didn't play him this entire series because they saw this coming. They want to have it retroactive where they can sit him for, 4 days and then bring him back if they want to keep him.
It's the same thing they did with Peraza.
Yeah.
I mean,
Peraza went deep today.
They waited multiple days. He went deep today in his first at-bat, in AAA. Speaking of, I know we like to touch on prospects every now and then. Jones is about as hot as you can get again. Another 3 hits today, so expect any day now.
What are they waiting for? What are they waiting for?
I really don't know. I think they wanted to probably see how he was going to bounce back from his first slump, and he's bounced back in a major way and probably quicker than even expected. So I don't know how Jones is still in AA. And another guy too that you talked about a lot. I saw some more video of him again. I actually spoke to some people about him. Everyone in the world that I talked to is like, Austin Wells could actually be up right now. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how good of a hitter this kid is. He threw a couple of guys out the other day. It's interesting, man. The one thing I will say this about the Yankees, we talk a lot about lefty hitters. Boy, oh boy, did they got the lefty prospects, though. Yeah. They got the lefty swinging prospects. No doubt about it.
Well, Cashman had to have recognized that, over several years, we had all these righties. Yeah. You have to recognize that it's ineffective at Yankee Stadium. And now with the shift going away, all a left-handed hitter has to do is what Rizzo's doing essentially, which is creep up on the plate, cover the entire plate, and try and pull everything, essentially. Yeah, go to left field once in a while to keep them honest. Yep. But at Yankee Stadium, you don't want to hit fly balls to left field. You want to rip the ball to the right side. Now that screws you up on the road. Sure it does. But your hope is that with somebody as strong as like Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez, some of these guys, they're going to put up some numbers, man.
Yeah, they got a lot of them, man. Wells, Trey Sweeney.
Wells, by the way,
a lot of them.
Would you rather have him DHing than Calhoun right now?
Not even a conversation.
Yeah, so
not even a conversation.
I just don't see any thump in Calhoun's bat. I mean, even the home runs he hit were like fourth row, and he hit him as far as he could possibly hit it.
Yeah, Calhoun doesn't have. There's no pop there. There's no. I mean, him and Anthony Volpe are the same height, and Anthony Volpe could drive a ball further than him any day of the week. Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. Speaking of Austin Wells, just to put this out there, if anybody doesn't know, just a fun little fact. I believe this guy almost more than anybody is going to be a Yankee because, and I know some people might be like, well, that has nothing to do with it. And I might think it does. Him and Anthony Volpe are best of friends.
Yes.
Best of friends to the point that he's actually lived with Volpe's parents for quite some time.
He's a good kid. I've talked to some people who they know Austin Wells and they tell me he's just like a great, like a fun clubhouse guy,
Yep. I know he's probably get along good with some Yankees. I know, Higgy may not be there with it because of him, but he's a big outdoorsman. I know that. And apparently, he comes from the school of winning. You know what I mean? Yeah. These kids want to win. That is going to be the defining legacy of Brian Cashman.
Yeah.
How these kids pan out and how they work out. If these guys work out, it's going to be very, very good news for Brian Cashman.
Yeah, forget about his contract. He's running out of life. He's running out of generations of players that, this might be the last generation of players that he has a chance to bring forward. And that might be why he's, been prospect hugging a little bit on some of these trades. But, hopefully some of them work out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Then I know somebody in here just said that Wells' defense was holding him back. Well, there's been a big improvement there. And
his arm is great.
His arm is excellent. He's definitely gotten a lot better in that regard. And I even asked somebody who watches him all the time. I was like, actually, Yankees Farm. You guys know who Yankees Farm is, and they have a podcast. Him and Dane, and they talked about this on the podcast. And Dane asked him, he's like, "Is he a better catcher than Gary Sanchez?" And Yankees Farm, Carlos was like, "Yeah, he's a better catcher than Gary Sanchez, no doubt about it." Like Gary has a cannon for an arm. He might beat him there, but everything else, game calling, framing. Even defense behind the play, blocking balls. They're already saying that Wells is around that level, if not slightly above it. And if that's all he is, folks, that is good enough.
Yeah.
That's good enough with his bat. His bat is legitimate. And I do believe right now he's ranked as like the number 2 Yankee prospect ever since everybody graduated. I think he's
since Volpe graduated, he's in the top 3 for sure.
I think it's Dominguez, him, because Peraza also graduated, so he wouldn't be on the list anymore. And Peraza potentially on his way back. But let's get quick predictions of the series with Toronto. 4-game set. Manoah on the mound tomorrow. It says to be determined still for the Yankees, so I'm not certain who it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's... I'm trying to think who pitched the last game before.
It's got to be Brito, right?
Brito, right? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So if it's Brito versus Manoah in Canada...
Yeah,
that's a tough one, but I'll go and say this again. I'll say the Yankees split this series.
Yeah, I think Manoah and Gossman's games are going to be tough, but I think the Yankees can win the other 2. Garrett Cole, I feel like, is going to bounce back. He showed some improvements. He only went 5 and gave you 2 runs. You got to get more than that. But I saw some better things, like he kind of overcorrected a little bit. Nestor, he's going to be in a dome, so he's not going to wilt in the heat. So, I feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm okay with I would honestly be okay with a split. Couple of quick things, guys, before we wrap up. Thank you guys so much for helping us out on Apple Podcast. I think we got a couple of more reviews in, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Leave your voicemail for All Rise tomorrow morning. That is, again, the number is 804-592-6160. So drop all your thoughts, concerns, whatever it might be in for the voicemails, and then continue to get the likes up as always. Derek, any last remarks?
No, I just I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by what we saw. 5-2 homestand. Yeah, sure, 3 of it was against the A's, but they got off the mat a few times, which is more than we could say a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. There's things to be concerned about, but there's also additional positives that I don't think we had last week. One is the fight. There's no doubt about it. This team has fought back. I remember the game, what was it? Game 3, when they were down 6-0. I'm sitting there going, this game, they're over. The game's over with. They lost. There's no doubt about it. And then I remember Aaron Judge said that when Cordero finished up, he came into the dugout and was like, guys, we're going to win this game. Like, let's win this game. And they immediately came out there was like, oh, no, we're not dead. Like, they rose up like The Undertaker.
Yeah.
I mean, they were right back in this thing, and they absolutely dominated. So before I wrap it up, we got another super chat, so we'll get to that.
Thank you for being a friend.
I like it.
Ruben, thank you so much, brother. He says, Wells last year at one point was said that his framing was near the level of Trevino. Hicks' home run was so 2018 that it brought back his injuries. That's good. That is good. So we appreciate that, Ruben. But game coming up tomorrow, guys. You know that I'll be here to cover it. You know that Derek will have the recap for you guys. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in to Designated Spittaz. With that being said, guys, we are out. Adios. Talk to you guys later.
You can't manage this, can't break this, boy, I'm funded. Gotta keep my distance when you not 100. From the same ones say they love you, late and funny. You can't match my energy, and yeah, you know it. Way too cold, yeah, man, I'm way too cold. Way too cold, yeah, man, I'm way too cold. Way too cold, yeah, man, I'm way too cold. Yes, I meant it, yeah, man, I'm way too cold.